Namaste, and a very warm welcome to you. You are listening to The Deep Dive.
Namaste.
I'm your host, and today I want to ask you to do something for me. I want you to mentally switch off the noise of the traffic, or the office, or, the daily rush.
Hmm.
Just for the next hour, imagine we are sitting together on a quiet veranda. The sun has just gone down, the heat of the day is fading.
And we have a fresh pot of tea between us.
Exactly, because the topic we are discussing today, it requires that kind of stillness. It is not just a history lesson. It is, I would say, a journey into the very heartbeat of Maharashtra.
You're absolutely right to ask for that stillness. Because we are talking about a phenomenon that has been keeping the soul of this state alive for maybe 700, 800 years.
That long.
That long.
Yeah.
We're talking about Pandharpur.
Yeah.
And we are talking about the great walking pilgrimage, the Wari.
The Wari. When we look at the sources for this deep dive, and we have a very thick stack of notes today, it is just hard to wrap your mind around the scale of it.
It is.
We are not talking about a few hundred people, or even thousands. We are talking about lakhs, a literal river of humanity.
It's a sight that it changes you just by looking at it. Imagine a road stretching as far as your eye can see.
Okay.
And on that road, you see men in white kandi caps, women in bright 9-yard saris, maybe carrying tulsi plants on their heads. They are walking through the rain, through the scorching sun.
And they are singing.
Constantly singing. They're dancing. And for those few weeks on the road, they completely forget who is a boss, who is a servant, who is rich, who is poor.
That is the hook for me. In a world where we are so obsessed with our status, our designations, they walk hundreds of kilometers just to see one deity.
One God, yes.
One God who is standing on a simple brick.
And that is our mission for this session, isn't it? We want to understand why. Why this specific town in Solapur? Why this specific temple? What is it about this tradition, the Warkari Sampradaya, that makes a modern IT professional walk next to a farmer for 20 days?
Exactly. And to guide us, we have a very interesting collection of sources. We have travel logs from modern pilgrims who have walked the path just recently. We have government reports about new construction and corridors happening right now in 2025 and 2026. But most importantly, we have the poetry.
The abhangs.
Yes, the abhangs, the devotional songs of the great saints, the sant kavis like Tukaram and Jnaneshwar, because without understanding the poetry, you really cannot understand the pilgrimage.
It is very true. The poetry is the fuel for the journey. So, shall we start at the destination?
Let's
orient ourselves, both geographically and, spiritually.
Let us do the needful. So, where exactly are we going? We are going to the Solapur district of Maharashtra. The town is Pandharpur.
Right.
It's a busy town, full of life, but it sits on the banks of a very special river.
The Bhima River. But in Pandharpur, it's not called the Bhima.
No, it isn't. It's known as the Chandrabhaga.
Chandrabhaga.
That's such a beautiful name.
It means having the curve of the moon. If you look at the map or if you stand on the banks, you will see the river takes a sharp turn, like a crescent moon.
Ah, okay.
And according to the abhangs, those devotional poems we were just talking about, this is not just water.
No, it's much more than that. The sources are very clear on this. They say that just seeing the Chandrabhaga washes away sins.
That's a very powerful sentiment.
It is.
Indeed. There's a comparison made in the texts. They say this place is Vaikuntha on earth.
Vaikuntha, for those who might not know, that's Lord Vishnu's abode, right? The highest heaven.
The highest heaven, yes. But the devotees of Pandharpur say, why go all the way to the heavens? Why wait for death to find salvation, or they call moksha?
They say Vaikuntha is right here.
It's right here, on these muddy banks.
And residing in this earthly Vaikuntha is the Lord himself. This is Lord Vitthal, or Vithoba.
Yes. Now, if we look at the iconography, we look at the statue, he is a form of Krishna, or Vishnu. But he is very different from the Krishna you might see in other parts of India.
How so? What's different about him?
Well, usually if you go to a Christian temple, say in the north or even in the south, you might see him playing the flute. He's in a relaxed pose, maybe crossing his legs.
The playful cowherd.
Exactly. Or the great charioteer of Arjuna. But here, in Pandharpur, he is standing very straight.
Rigid almost.
Yes, very erect. And he's standing on a brick.
A single brick.
A brick. In Marathi, a brick is called a vit.
Ah, so that's where the name comes from, Vitthal.
Precisely. The one who stands on a vit. And his hands are not holding a flute. They're resting firmly on his hips.
There is a beautiful story behind that posture, and I think we really need to spend some time here because this story explains the heart the Warkari tradition. This is the story of Pundalik.
Yes, Pundalik. To understand the god, we must understand the devotee, because in this tradition, the devotee sometimes seems even greater than the god.
So tell us about Pundalik. Who was he?
The legend says that Pundalik was a man who lived a long, long time ago. And initially, he was not a saint. Not at all. He was a difficult man, perhaps selfish.
Okay.
But something changed in him. He had a transformation of heart. And he decided to dedicate his life to the service of his parents.
Matru Pitru Seva. Service to mother and father. This is such a core value in our culture.
It is the highest duty, the highest dharma. So the story goes that one day, Pundalik was inside his home. It was perhaps raining outside. And he was busy pressing the feet of his parents.
He was massaging them.
Massaging them, making sure they were comfortable. He was completely absorbed in this service, just completely focused.
Okay.
Now, at that very moment, Lord Krishna, the Lord of the universe, he came to Pundalik's door. The Lord had heard of Pundalik's devotion, and he wanted to see it for himself. So Lord Krishna knocks.
Just imagine that scene for a moment. The God you have been praying to your whole life, the creator of the world, is standing right there at your threshold.
That's what we do.
For 99% of us, we would jump up, we would leave everything, we'd run to the door and fall at his feet. We'd say, "My Lord, you are here."
But not Pundalik.
No.
Pundalik heard the knock. He saw the Lord. But he looked at his parents.
Yeah.
And he realized that his immediate duty, his service, was not finished. He could not leave them halfway, not even for God.
That is a very strong resolve.
It is almost audacious, So Pundalik looked around the room, and he saw a loose brick lying nearby. A vit.
The same brick.
The very same. He picked up that brick and he threw it towards the door.
He threw a brick at God.
Well, in a manner of speaking, yes.
Yeah.
He threw it towards the Lord and he said, "My Lord, I am busy with my service. Please stand on this and wait for me. I will come when I am done."
Imagine telling the Lord of the universe to wait. Just stand there on that brick. It's unbelievable.
And here's the beauty of it. Here's where the theology becomes so touching. Lord Krishna did not get angry. He didn't feel insulted. He was charmed, absolutely charmed by the integrity of his devotee. He loved that Pundalik valued his duty to his parents more than the greed for a divine vision, for darshan.
So he waited.
He stood on that brick. He placed his hands on his hips like a person waiting patiently. And he stood there. And the sources say he is still standing there.
Because Pundalik's service is eternal.
In a way, yes. And so the Lord's wait is eternal. He has been standing there for 28 yugas, or ages, waiting for his devotee.
This tells us something so deep about this tradition. Vitthal is not a god who demands you leave your duties.
No.
He waits for you while you do your duty. He is seen as a friend.
Exactly. He is a folk god. The sources emphasize this again and again. He is not a distant king sitting on a high throne in the sky. He is right here, standing on a brick, waiting for you. And because of this, the devotees feel a very, very intimate connection.
There is a specific word they use for him, isn't there? A word that I found very surprising when I first read it.
Mauli.
Mauli. What does that mean?
It's a Marathi word that means mother.
But Vitthal is male. He is a form of Krishna, yet they call him mother. Why is that?
It's because the nature of his love is seen as maternal. A father might judge you. A king will definitely judge you. But a mother waits. A mother forgives. A mother feeds you no matter what.
I see.
The devotees see Vitthal as the ultimate mother who is waiting for her children to come home.
That is deeply moving. And to see this mother the children walk, this brings us to the second part of our journey, the Wari.
The Wari, the great walking pilgrimage.
Now, for our listeners who might not be from Maharashtra, we need to explain that the Wari is not just a weekend trip. You don't just take a car or a bus and go.
No, absolutely not. That would be just a visit. The Wari is a specific ritual. It's a spiritual discipline, a tapasya.
And when does it happen?
The main event happens around Ashadhi Ekadashi. This is usually in June or July. Now, you must remember the geography and the climate of Maharashtra at that time.
June and July, that's the monsoon season.
It is the peak of the monsoon. It is pouring rain. The roads are muddy. The fields are lush and green, yes, but the walking conditions are difficult.
Yet, lakhs of people walk.
They do. There's another pilgrimage on Ashadhi Ekadashi in October and November, but the Ashadhi Wari is the biggest one.
And where do they walk from?
They walk from various towns, but the two most important processions, the main ones, start from Alandi and Dehu.
These are towns near Pune.
Yes. Alandi is the home of Saint Yaneshwar, and Dehu is the home of Sant Tukaram.
And they don't walk alone. They carry something very precious with them.
They carry the palkis. A palki is a palanquin, a beautiful silver flower-decked palanquin. And inside these, they place the padukas.
Padukas. Those are the symbolic footprints, right?
Symbolic metal footprints of the saints. So the idea is that Sant Gnaneshwar himself is leaving Alandi to go and meet Lord Vitthal in Pandharpur.
And the devotees are just his companions.
They are simply accompanying him. They're walking with the saint. You are not just a pilgrim. You are part of the saint's entourage.
That is a lovely concept. You are not alone on the road. You are walking with the spirit of these great masters.
Correct. Now, just imagine the organization required for this. We are talking about lakhs of people walking for 18 to 21 days.
It would be chaos if it weren't organized.
It would be. But the Wari is highly, highly organized. The whole procession is divided into groups called dindis.
Tell us about the dindi. What is it?
A dindi is a registered group of warkaris, of these pilgrims. It's like a small community on the move. A dindi might have 50 people or it might have 500.
And they have a leader?
They have a leader, a designated flag bearer.
Yeah.
They even have a truck that goes ahead of them with their heavy luggage and cooking pots.
So they cook together.
They cook together, they eat together, they sing together, and they sleep together in large tents or sometimes in schools or temples along the way. It becomes a mobile village.
And the atmosphere. Our sources describe it as a complete sensory immersion.
Oh, the sounds. You must imagine the sound first. Every warkari who is walking is singing. They're singing the abhangs, and they are playing the tal.
The tal are those small hand cymbals.
Yes. Clang, clang, clang. That rhythm, it goes on for hours and hours. It creates a kind of trance. It really puts you in a different state of mind.
I can imagine.
It does. And visually,
Yeah.
It's just a river of saffron. They carry these tall saffron flags, the dwaj, and the men wear white. The women wear colorful saris, and on their foreheads, they all wear gopi chandan.
Gopi chandan.
It is a type of sandalwood paste. They apply it as a mark of devotion. It has this very earthy, sweet smell. So you have the sound of the cymbals, the smell of the rain on the earth, the smell of the gopi chandan.
And the discipline is very strict, isn't it? I read that they don't drink alcohol, they don't eat meat.
That is non-negotiable. A true warkari is a strict vegetarian. They abstain from all intoxicants. And they wear a string of tulsi beads around their neck.
Why the tulsi beads?
The tulsi plant is sacred to Lord Vishnu. Wearing those beads is like a promise to live a pure life, a life of devotion.
So you have this intense physical journey, the rain, the mud, the walking, the singing. But there's something else happening, something internal. And this brings us to what I think is the most important part of our deep dive, the social revolution.
Yes. Segment 3, we are all Mauli.
I want to share a story from our sources. We found a blog post from a lady named Nirmala Padhan. She's 63 years old, and she has walked the Wari many, many times.
What does she say?
She says, I felt I had reached heaven. She says there's no pain, no fatigue, but the part that really struck me was about how people talk to each other.
Oh, yes. Go on.
She explains that in her normal life, there is a hierarchy. If she meets a policeman, she calls him Dada or Sahib.
Brother or sir.
Right. If she meets a woman of a certain status, she calls her Thai, sister. We're always defining who is above and who is below us.
That is the nature of our society, sadly. We are constantly mapping our status.
But Nirmalaji says that in the Dindi, everyone addresses everyone else as Mauli.
Mauli.
Mother. Think about that. I am a man. You are a man. If we meet on the road to Pandharpur, I look at you and I call you mother.
It is profound. It completely subverts the social order. The ego just has no place to stand.
Why do they do that? What is the logic behind calling a man mother?
We must go back to the theology. Remember, Lord Vitthal is the Mauli. He is the mother of the world. By calling you Mauli, I am acknowledging that the same God who is standing on the brick in Pandharpur is also residing in your heart.
So I am seeing God in you.
Yes, and not just God, but the mother. It implies a relationship of care. You cannot be arrogant towards someone you call mother. You cannot be angry at mother. It forces you to drop your ego completely.
Nirmalaji says, and I'm quoting her here, it is as though all of us have given up our identity and we have all assumed the identity of the Lord.
That is the goal, to lose the I and mine. And this is especially important when we talk about caste.
We have to talk about caste. It is a reality of Indian history.
It is. Historically, the caste system was incredibly rigid. If you were a Brahmin, you would not eat with a Shudra. You would not even touch the shadow of an untouchable. Society was divided by these high, invisible walls.
But the Wari breaks those walls.
It smashes them. In the Dindi, there is no Brahmin and no Shudra. There's only the devotee, the Warkari. They walk on the same road. The dust of the road settles on everyone equally. They eat in the same row. This was a radical social experiment.
And this experiment started 700 years ago.
Yes, this is the Bhakti movement. We must understand the historical context. Before the Bhakti movement, religion was, it was locked away.
Locked away how?
It was in Sanskrit. The scriptures, the Vedas, the rituals, they were all in Sanskrit. The common man, the farmer, the shopkeeper, they did not know Sanskrit. So they were told, you cannot access God directly.
You need a middleman.
You need a priest. You need to pay for complex rituals. So salvation was expensive.
And exclusive.
It was. And the Bhakti movement, and specifically the Warkari saints, they rebelled against this. They said, no. They said, God does not care about your grammar. God does not care about your money. God cares about your heart.
Accessibility. That was the revolution.
Precisely. They said, all you need is bhakti devotion. And you need the name.
The name.
The chanting of God's name. Ram Krishna Hari. Just saying the name with love, with feeling, is enough. You don't need a fire sacrifice. You don't need to be a scholar. Just say the name.
And the people who brought this message, they were the Sant Kavis, the poet saints. We really need to talk about them because they are the heroes of this story.
They are the pillars. Without them, there is no Wari. There is no Warkari Sampradaya.
Let us start with Sanyanyeshwar. He is often called the Mauli of the Warkaris too, isn't he?
Yes. He is the intellectual foundation of the entire movement. He lived in the 13th century, a very, very short life. He took samadhi. He chose to leave his body when he was just a young man.
But in that short life, he did something monumental.
Monumental is the right word. He took the Bhagavad Gita, which is the most important philosophical text of Hinduism, it was in Sanskrit, and he translated it, or rather, he gave a brilliant commentary on it, in Marathi, the local language.
And this work is called the Jnaneshwari?
Yes, he unlocked the treasure chest for the common people. He famously said that he would plant the flag of knowledge in the soil of the Marathi language. He proved that you can talk about the highest philosophy in the language of the ordinary person.
So Jnaneshwar gave the intellect, but then we have Sant Tukaram, and he gave the heart.
Tukaram, he is perhaps the most beloved of all. He is called the commoner's saint for a reason.
Tell us about his life. He wasn't a monk, was he? He wasn't from a high caste family?
No, not at all. He was a householder. He lived much later, in the 17th century. He was a grocer, a shopkeeper in the village of Dehu. But his life was just full of tragedy.
I read about the famine.
Yes. There was a terrible famine around 1630. Tukaram watched his first wife die of starvation, crying for bread. He lost his eldest son. He went bankrupt. His business failed completely. He was broken by the world.
You know, most people would lose their faith in such a situation. They would ask, where is God? Why is he letting this happen?
Tukaram asked that too. That's the beauty of his poetry. He didn't just accept it blindly. His avhangs are full of arguments with God. He gets angry. He quarrels with Vitthal like a friend.
There is a poem of his that I love. It's so honest. He says, my caste is low, my origin's humble. A little help from you will go a long way.
Yeah.
He's talking directly to God.
It is very direct. He is not hiding his status. He is saying, I am a low-caste grocer. I am poor, but I am yours, so help me.
And he talks about the power of his words, his poetry.
Yes. Words are the only jewels I possess. Words are the only food that sustains my life.
In Marathi, he says, Amagari dana shabdan chitratle. He's saying, in my house, the only wealth is the jewels of words. I have no gold. I have no money. But these poems, this is my true wealth. That is beautiful. He taught people that true holiness isn't about what you wear or where you were born. It's about the purity of your feelings, your heart.
And then we absolutely must mention the radical inclusivity of this movement, especially regarding women and the marginalized. This is very important.
Yes, let's talk about Saint Janabai.
Janabai was a domestic worker, a maidservant in the house of another great saint, Saint Namdev. She spent her entire life sweeping floors, washing clothes, grinding grain at the stone mill.
Hard physical labor, day in and day out.
Very hard. But she attained God realization while doing that labor. Her poems are incredible. She describes Lord Vitthal coming to help her with her chores.
He helps her grind the grain.
He helps her grind the grain. He helps her wash the clothes. She found God not by leaving the world, but by seeing the divine in her daily work.
She has that famous line, I eat God, I drink God, I sleep on God. For her, God was not separate. He was in everything.
Yes. She validated the life of the working woman. She showed that you don't have to go to a cave to find God. You can find him in the grindstone. You can find him in your kitchen.
And then there is Saint Chocamela.
Chocamela's story is heartbreaking, but also so uplifting. He belonged to the Mahar caste. In those days, they were considered untouchable.
So he would have faced extreme discrimination.
Extreme. He was often not even allowed to enter the temple to see the god he loved so deeply.
Can you imagine that? Walking all the way to Pandharpur and being stopped at the door because of your birth?
It is a tragedy. But Chukamela found God in his heart, and the other saints, Jineshwar, Tukaram, Namdev, they accepted him. They embraced him. His poetry is revered.
So his presence in the group of saints shows that the Warkari movement was actively trying to fight the social evils of the time.
It was. We are all Maoli. It wasn't just a slogan. They tried to live it. And that is why the tradition is still alive, because it speaks to the dignity of every single human being.
That is a powerful legacy. But now, let's fast forward. Let's come to the present day. We are in 2026. The world has changed. We have smartphones, we have AI, we have high-speed trains. How is Pandharpur coping with the modern world?
Well, that brings us to segment 5, modern Pandharpur and development.
Yeah.
The town is transforming.
I was reading the government reports in our stack. They are building something called a Pandharpur corridor.
Yes. The state government has realized that this is not just a small fair, it is a massive annual event. So they are upgrading the infrastructure. They are building a corridor around the temple, modeled after the ones in Kashi or Ujjain.
They're widening the roads, correct? I read about that.
Yes. The plan includes a 40-foot wide road for the Pradakshina.
The Pradakshina is the path for walking around the temple.
Yes, the circumambulation. 40 feet is huge.
It's massive.
But it's necessary. With the population growing every year, crowd management is a serious safety issue. You cannot have stampedes. So they are acquiring land, widening roads, building better toilets, waiting halls, clean water facilities.
And getting there is easier now. The reports mention new Vande Bharat trains to the region.
Yes. Connectivity has improved so much. You can fly to Pune or Mumbai and then take a fast train or a luxury bus. It's becoming more accessible for the modern pilgrim who might not have 20 days to walk.
But does this modernization, does it change the spirit of the Wari?
That is the big question, isn't it? Some of the old-timers worry that if you make it too comfortable, the sacrifice, the tapasya, is lost. But others say that Maoli deserves comfort. If the pilgrims are walking so far, the government should ensure they have clean water and a safe road to walk on.
And the politics of it is interesting too. We must remain neutral, of course, but we can observe the facts.
The facts are that the Wari is a state event. Every year, on Ashadhi Ekadashi, the chief minister of Maharashtra comes to Pandharpur to perform the Mahapuja.
The grand worship. It's an official duty.
It is. And on Kartiki Ekadashi, the deputy chief minister comes. This shows that the government, the state power, has to bow before this spiritual power. No politician in Maharashtra can afford to ignore the Wari. It is the cultural heartbeat of the voters.
It is a fascinating blend of the ancient and the modern. You have a 13th century tradition being managed by 21st century infrastructure and politics.
And yet the core remains the same. The brick is the same, the faith is the same, the call of Maoli is the same.
So we have covered a lot of ground today. We have traveled from the story of Pundalik to the poetry of Tukaram, and finally to the new corridors of 2026.
It has been quite a journey, even just talking about it.
If we had to summarize it, if we had to give our listeners one thing to take away from this entire deep dive, what would it be?
I would say this. Pandharpur is a place where stones turn to gods. The brick becomes a throne. And ordinary people, through sheer devotion, turn into saints.
That is beautiful.
The Warkari tradition teaches a very simple lesson, a lesson that is perhaps more relevant today than ever before. It teaches that God is not found in expensive rituals. God is not found in isolation.
Where is God found then?
God is found in the company of other human beings. God is found in the chanting of the name. And God is found in simplicity, in service.
It makes you think about our modern lives. We are so obsessed with our titles. I am a manager. I'm a CEO. I am rich. I am important.
And we are so divided. We are divided by politics, by money, by ego, and frankly, we are lonely.
And the Wari offers a strange solution to all of that.
A very strange and beautiful solution. It says, walk. Walk together in the rain. Walk until your feet hurt so much that you forget who you are. Walk until you were just a soul singing, and call everyone you meet Mother.
Imagine if we could apply just a little bit of that spirit in our cities today. Imagine being in a traffic jam in Mumbai or Bangalore. Instead of honking and shouting, you just look at the other driver and think, Maoli.
It would certainly lower the blood pressure of the entire nation. But on a serious note, yes, the message of radical equality and love is timeless.
Yeah.
It was needed in the 13th century to fight the caste system. And it is needed in the 21st century to fight our modern isolation.
Well, on that note, we have come to the end of our deep dive. I hope you felt a little bit of the dust of the road and maybe heard the rhythm of the tall.
It has been a pleasure to explore this with you.
Thank you to our listeners for taking this journey to Pandharpur with us. Until next time, stay curious.
And keep walking. Namaste.